I've been a bear hunter ever since I took my first bear in Ontario with archery equipment, and I never lost my love for bear hunting. But this week we're headed to Vancouver Island for part of my obsession quest. And I wind up taking one with a rifle, but guess what? They've got a 2-bear limit, and I'm going to take my second one with my true love, archery equipment. 2 great bears, 2 great adventures. Don't go away. It's exciting.
Victor Chevrolet, Bass Pro Shops, and Alamocitos Ranch present Bob Folkrod's Hunting Adventures. Seven continents, 80 species, a 5-year quest in the making. High adventure, dangerous game, real-world training tips. This is Bob Folkrod's Hunting Adventures.
We travel with Bob Folkrod and his guide Craig Walls into the primeval rainforests of Vancouver Island, but beautiful boat ride up the Pacific side of the island. The island lies off the west coast of British Columbia. It is a classic Pacific Rim island with towering rain-soaked mountains that plunge straight into the sea. The island itself and the waters that surround it teem with life, beneficiaries of ocean currents that bring moisture, nutrients, and temperate weather.
Oh, you come right out of the water.
Both these killer whales and the bears Bob will soon be stalking grow huge on the 5 species of salmon that return each year to the island's many rivers.
It wasn't too long ago the Safari Club opened up Vancouver Island for its own species black bear. And what they're saying, it's the largest black bear in the world.
We start our hunts April 1st and go through into the first part of June. And the bears are just starting to come out. So the first part of the year, you just start to see the boars out mainly. And they're just eating all grass, and that's all they're eating. So we're hunting those grassy estuaries, grassy logging roads.
Hunting bears anytime in the springtime, the first thing those bears got to do is they got to find some grass, you know, and they eat the grass. And, you know, there's no baiting on Vancouver Island, so I mean, it's natural habitat, you know, so you're trying to find those bears when they come out, feeding up on the grass. And that's why, you know, you come into a little inlet and there's a grassy little spot. And normally, you know, especially when it starts to get low light, you know, those bears, they come out of the woodworks onto those little grassy spots.
The Vancouver Island bears are larger and more black than their mainland cousins. Skeletons found in caves near Port Hardy indicate that the bear has been a resident of the island for as long as 10,000 years. Contrary to popular belief, these bears do not truly hibernate, but enter a state similar to deep sleep. The bear's population on the island is likely between 7,000 and 12,000 and is considered to be one of the most dense in the world. There are no natural predators to the bears on the island, although adult male bears that encounter sows with cubs will quite commonly kill the cubs to initiate estrus and breeding in the sow. Hunters come from all over the world to pursue the huge Bruins. Success rates can run as high as 10% annually. Studies show that the Vancouver Island black bear has a healthy, stable population through hunting, and it's not likely to decline in the foreseeable future. This week's Conservation Angle has been brought to you by Wild Sheep Foundation.
The bounty of Vancouver Island can seem endless. Bob had no sooner arrived in camp when Craig took him back out to sea to gather appetizers for the evening meal.
You know, they talked about going out and pulling the prong traps.
Yeah, the prawns and prem, whatever Bob called them.
I guess I didn't know what a prong was, you know.
Yeah, we usually try to set the prawn traps and give everyone a good feed of prawns.
We went out and pulled. And I'm glad the outfitter was there because my little arms got tired.
You pulling it all back there, Bob?
I thought I was. It was down there something like 400, 500 feet. See that little brass thing? I think that's, how many feet is that?
I think they're 50 feet apart.
50 foot apart. Oh, that means we only got
5 more and we should be there.
5 more to go. But it was worth it because I pulled them every day.
Usually everyone gets pretty addicted to them and you seem to be pulling them every day.
I mean, you talk about delicious now. I mean, it was sinful good. I mean, we sat there and just couldn't eat anymore. He's got all this, you know, steaks and, you know, potatoes and everything that went with it. And after we got through eating them prongs, I mean, didn't have room for anything else.
You usually get 40 or 50 enough for a good meal every time you pull them.
It was absolutely fantastic.
There we go. We'll come back in a couple hours and let you do it again. We got pretty lucky on this trip. It was bright and sunny the whole time, but that's not usually the case out in the West Coast. You get a lot of rain and it can change real quick. First 3 weeks of our hunting season this year, I think we had 2 days of sunshine.
Vancouver Island. Boy, when I was putting this hunt together, one thing I knew for sure I would need is a rain suit. Tropical rainforest and good footwear because we're going to cross a lot of streams, rivers, bogs, and stalking the black bear. One thing that we didn't need on this trip was the rain gear. It was absolutely beautiful weather, but one thing we did need for sure was those Gore-Tex boots.
Preparation is everything when it comes to hunting the most intimidating big game animal in North America.
Well, it's time to do the real deal. What I call the real deal is practicing in real life hunting conditions. If you see it this way, I'm hunting plains game. If you see it this way, I'm hunting dangerous game. I'm just going to jog down this hill a little bit, jog back up. I'll probably be panting a little bit. We're going to do the same thing. Make that first shot count and then jack it 2 more times. See if you can keep it in that black circle. That's an 8-inch circle. See if you can keep it in there. If you can, you're pretty much going to keep that animal down. Now that first shot is the one you're really taking your time with. But you want to keep him on the beach. You want to keep him in front of you. You don't want him to get in the woods if you don't have to. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk down just for sure, look at my target again. I'm going to come back. I'm going to load this thing back up and I'm going to jog a little bit. So when I come back up, I'm breathing hard. My heart's pounding. That's just like that adrenaline rush that you get. Okay, got lots of time. Lots of time. Take your time. Safety off. Wait. Okay, make this shot good. He's down. You know, I'm not really sure where my first shot was. I'm hoping that was my first shot, and obviously I got 2 more into him. That's the way to practice. I do that with archery and with rifle. It gives me that adrenaline rush to see whether I can perform just like I just did when the adrenaline is really at its highest peak.
Bob Folkrot's Hunting Adventures is brought to you by these 5 sponsors: Gore-Tex and Buck Fever Synthetics.
For the love of mud, gravel, and trail dust. For the love of farm roads, dirt roads, and no roads. For the love of hunting, fishing, and working the land. For the love of conservation, preservation, and restoration. Introducing Tracker off-road vehicles, designed and built on American soil for kicking up American soil. Tracker off-road, built for love of country.
When we face adversity, we find a way through it. It's about taking care of each other. It's the small parts that make a big difference. At Chevy, we promise to do ours. We're offering current Chevy owners OnStar Crisis Assist services and complimentary Wi-Fi data. To help keep you on the road, the Chevy Certified Service Experts are here and ready to help if you require parts, maintenance, or repairs. You can even schedule your service appointments online. It's just our way of doing our part.
One thing about running around on a 4-wheeler with a firearm is obviously safety is number one. You want to make sure it's unloaded when it goes into that boot, and that's a nice thing that Eric had. He had a place for your firearm to put in the boot, and it kept the mud and the brush and everything else off him to it. You know, it was a great way to carry your weapon on that 4-wheeler. Well, I like these seats.
Yeah, they're pretty comfortable,
Oh,
aren't they?
man, I'll tell you. You know, I've been on some hunts where I had to use a four-wheeler, you know, and that's not high on my list. I'm sitting on the back there, and, you know, here's the guide, you know, he's in a nice, comfortable seat, and he's running however fast he is, and, you know, my little bony butt sitting on the back of them bars, they're just getting pounded. You know, you don't have to do that very long. You figure this isn't high on my priority list. But Eric, I'll tell you what, he made that big old seat on the back that had handlebars and place for your feet. It was probably one of the most comfortable times I've ever been on a four-wheeler. Didn't mind getting on it every day.
There's one bear out there.
Where you see him at?
See right on the other side, there's that one little patch of green.
Yeah.
And then there's a log pile there.
Yeah.
Just to the left of the log pile, he's up against the timber there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good-sized bear. Bob and Craig decide to go after it, but it won't be easy. They are going to have to hike down that mountain and then stalk the huge animal across the openness of a tidal estuary.
It's right there.
Yeah.
He smelled us.
He might have smelled us.
Yeah. Yeah, when he turns around and picks his head up like that,
Yeah. What happens lots though too is other bears end up chasing him off. There was couple times there where bear comes out and another big boar, he just chases him right off the estuary. He's just on the edge though, so we'll give him a minute here. He hasn't left yet. He's right at the back, unless he just moved off. No, he's still there on the edge.
You know, I took the rifle up because, you know, number one, that was part of my obsession quest, especially when Safari Club opened it up as a separate species. You know, and I mean, right off the first day, we seen this great bear. I mean, you know, from up on top of the hill, and we came down and put a stalk onto him. You know, of course, like with a rifle, I mean, I don't have to get up there at 15 or 20 yards like a bow. So, you know, we got in there pretty close, about 100 yards, I guess, away. He was feeding away, didn't have a clue we were there. Yeah, we got him now. Just a matter of waiting for the right shot. Give myself some power. Safety's on. We got him now. And just let him turn right there. Okay, here we go.
Shoot him again. Good shooting.
All right.
Keep her on him for a second or two. He might get up yet. It's a big old bear.
He's a big bear.
One of the challenges in hunting the richness of an estuary can be retrieving your quarry.
You're packing for the hunt, and I think, you know, on Eric's gear list, you know, he's saying knee-high rubber boots, you know. So I'll tell you what, walking all day in knee-high rubber boots is not my way of comfort, you know. I'm going to get a good Gore-Tex leather knee-high boot, and that's, you know, that's what we took up there, and it worked perfect. You know, we was able to walk in and out of the streams, keep your feet dry. And I would say, anytime you see that on a gearbox,
as the sum of each generation before it, the next generation Corvette stands alone as the new standard of precision and performance, of engineering and technology, of everything that makes an icon, and a Corvette, a Corvette.
Although Bob completed his obsession quest taking over 80 animals with a rifle, his first love has always been bow hunting. He's teamed up with longtime friend and archery coach Mike Price to help make you a better bow shot.
This week we're going to talk about your torso or your shoulders, what your shoulders are supposed to look like. All these things will help you build the shot better. Shoulders in their natural position, again, you want the bow to fit you, you don't want to fit the bow. If your shoulders are in their proper position, you're going to hold with less muscle, you're going to hold easier, you're going to aim better. As I get older, I lost muscle mass, so I had to learn and train myself to hold my shoulder down, because improper is if I stand up and I raise my bow arm up and I raise my shoulder with it, my shoulder is out of its natural position. So the only thing holding it there is muscle. That changes your draw length dramatically too. But you're having to hold the bow with your shoulder. So the whole deal is, if I can keep my shoulders in the proper position, in their natural position, with the least amount of muscle used, I'm going to shoot better. So if I turn and acquire my target, and I pick my arm up, and I hold my shoulder in its proper position or in a down position, I'm going to be much better. And it's not only your bow arm, it's your release arm. If your shoulders are up, use a lot more muscle. If your shoulders are down, use a lot less muscle. So the thing is, you want these shoulders in their natural position, they can hold much more weight. Because even though we want to use the least amount of muscle, you still have to use some. The way you can do it is just do an exercise, even without your bow, is you stand, shrug your shoulders up as high as you can, and then get them down, put them down. Shrug them up, put them down, relax. Now pick your arms up into this natural T position, and that's how you should look when you're shooting your bow. So it should all be that position, because this hand should be above that shoulder. Once that hand drops and gets more and more below your shoulder, the force of your bow pushes your shoulder up out of its natural position. The way to hold it the best is, again, how you lean. You don't lean like this, you lean like this, because you can hold a lot more weight easier. So again, shoulders low, both your release and your bow arm shoulders. Try to keep them down. When you draw your bow, if your shoulder comes up, you're probably drawing too much weight, or you haven't trained your shoulder blade or that set of muscles to hold your shoulder down. I'm going to pull it down with those muscles, and I'm going to hold it down with those muscles. And as I draw the bow, this other one is going to move into my spine, so I'm holding the bow more with my big muscles on my back. That should help you repeat the shot better. You'll hold steadier, everything will be better.
That just keeps you, at midday, you want to make sure you got confidence in your equipment, nothing's changed. You go out and throw a few arrows. And then you had a block up there, and we shot into that every day, and I'm glad he had it. One of the mistakes I think bow hunters do before they go on a hunt is they shoot their bow. They think, well, if I shoot it 300, 400, 500 times a day, then I'm really getting ready for a hunt. And you kind of are, but really you're not. Shoot your bow, get ready for the hunt, and then start twisting and turning. I mean, you're going to be up on a knee, you're going to be glassing, you're going to be using your rangefinder, whatever the situation you think it's going to be. Obviously, if you're hunting from a tree stand, then get into an elevated stand and practice. But in my situation, I knew it was going to be a spot and stalk. I'm going to be low to the ground, I'm going to be on my knees, I'm going to be twisting and turning, and that's how I practiced up there too, and it paid off.
This week's training tip is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition.
People always ask me, what do you do in your off time? And I said, I don't have an off time. You're almost hunting year round, and when you're not hunting, you're either packing for a hunt, you're unpacking for a hunt, talking to an outfitter. I'm working on next year's hunts. I've got a dozen or so hunts right now on the books for next year.
Look at that.
Besides fishing with his grandson, one thing Bob fits into his schedule is his annual bow school. Here, archers learn the kind of things only a master bow hunter can teach.
We have people that come to the school from all over the world. They'll come at least twice, sometimes 3 times, because it's just a wealth of information. Bob teaches everything he's learned in his 20-some years of hunting, He's really fine-tuned his hunting. He tells them what to and not to expect out of an outfitter, the steps of hunting, shoot some deer first, then go on a bear hunt. Don't just jump into an elk hunt. He teaches them how to pack. The clients, they learn a lot.
People say, when are you going to retire? I said, I've been retired. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I love it so much, and it's just like the schools, like pass on knowledge, or the grandson. It's fun to watch him learn, and he's so enthusiastic, and he wants to be with Grandpa, and he wants to learn more stuff, and there is no off time when you really, really, really love what you're doing. Man, we came into this bay and there's 3 bears. Imagine that, 3 bears on the beach. You know, one we eliminated right away. That was the biggest one. I mean, he had a huge head on it, but he was really rubbed bad. And so we went over for the other 2, and this one, I said, I can get on top of him.
There was one big, real nice big log that we could get up to about 40 yards away from this one, and we were sneaking up there, and there was one bear just upstream a little ways from us, and we decided we'd try for this one first. It was a little bit bigger, and we got up to the log and we were in good position. The bear didn't know we were there.
So we had to go across. We got to the big log first. That was a no-brainer. And then I had to drop in this little creek. I dropped off in there, and for whatever reason, I had it in my head I wanted to cross this little stream. You know, and he looked up the one time, he caught me halfway across it, so I settled back down, you know. I'm halfway up into my boots, you know, and I just says, okay, I'm gonna try it again. I started to go again, and he turned around and he spotted me, boy, and he just looked at me. You know, and now he starts to come for me, you know, and I guess that's what makes bear hunting exciting, because you just never know whether they're going to come and get you or not. And that's what makes my heart pound. That's what makes me go on them spring bear hunts. I don't know why I was trying to get closer, but I was, you know, and then the one time I said, man, I got him. You know, I range finding, I was comfortable with the shot. I stood up, drew onto him. He turned, it was kind of a bad shot. I waited for him a little bit, and he turned sideways, and it was like, oh, look at, he's all rubbed on that one side. But it wasn't too bad, you know, I wasn't that disappointed. I got there and made a good stalk. You know, I was able to take the bear, and guess what? I had to go find another bear to stalk. And that's what I was really looking for anyway.
This segment has been brought to you by the Victor Chevrolet Deal of the Week. Check them out at victorchevrolet.com.
I definitely have a passion for bears, you know, especially in the springtime. You know, you've been kind of cooped up all winter long and you're getting out there hunting bears. I ran a bear camp for 13 years and then, you know, had several opportunities to basically take bears all across the province. I guess my first close call on bears was a polar bear up in the Arctic, where I'd made a pretty good shot onto him, but I wanted to try to go in and finish him off, and he got up and came for me, and 7 steps away to make your heart pound. And then one time I was tracking a bear out of my camp, and we got into a wrestling match, and he bit me about 18 times, I guess, and I had to finish him off with a knife, and that's pretty exciting. So knowing that, all those things that it can happen to you, and all those stories you've always heard ever since you was a kid could come true when you're out there hunting bear, and I guess that's what makes it exciting. You know, it's mid-afternoon. We're not even expecting to see some bears. Bingo, there's a bear, you know. And he was down the beach quite a ways, you know, and being stony and rocky, and it was pretty noisy. I used the logs to my advantage, where basically the river came in, washed all the logs up, and I was going, you know, bouncing from log to log, trying to get in there close. And then we got right in on top of him. And I thought he was going to feed right around that log to me at one time, and I mean, just almost half his shoulder was there. And then he fed back, you know, and hey. And then he came back around where that big log was, and there was a perfect hole for me to shoot through. And he was almost sideways one time, and again, I was waiting for the right shot, and then he started turning around, walking away from me. But I know that quartering away shot is deadly.
That bear may look wounded, but as Bob demonstrates back at the bow school, a bear quartering away offers a prime opportunity.
You lay that arrow on there, and on top of that other arrow, you're going to see where that's going to pass up through. It's going to go all the way through him. All the way through him. And that bear in Vancouver, it actually went through his heart and hit him in that shoulder blade on the other side.
You got water right through here, a little blood yet.
Yeah.
There's some blood.
Whoa! Oh man, look at that, huh?
Boy, he didn't go very far, did he?
Oh, he didn't go far. No, you get them quartering away shots and drive that up into that shoulder blade like that, he isn't going far at all.
Nope.
Gosh, look at that.
That's a nice bear.
That is a beautiful bear. Look at the head on that son of a gun. Oh.
He's nice.
That's a 19+ inch skull right there, don't you think?
So, you bet. What's a good size head?
Gosh sakes, man.
Good job, Bob.
Thank you,
Nice
appreciate
bear.
it. That
was
is.
fun.
Nice stalk coming through there, huh?
Yeah, that was cool.
God. Every time you turn around, whether you're looking at a mountain or whether you're looking at a whale blowing spray out through and making a rainbow, or whether you're pulling prong traps out of the ocean in the anticipation how many prongs are going to be in the trap, or every time you turn a shovel or dirt over, how many clams are going to be into it. And just the beauty itself of being up there. I mean, we hit fantastic weather, not a raindrop onto us. So, I mean, you're just like a kid at Christmas time. You're looking here at this mountain, and you're looking over there in your glass and looking, and you almost forget what you're up there for, is black bears, you know. And it seems like when you get into them grassy areas, there's black bears all over. But that's one of them hunts that you go on to, that when people come back and they're just saying, geez, I'd like to take the family up there. Not do any hunt, just like to take the family up there, go back and stay in the tent, eat some prongs, dig some clams, and I bet there's some great fishing, even though we didn't do it, but I bet there's some great fishing up there. Just a fantastic, beautiful place.
After your successful hunt of a lifetime, contact Wes Good at CanadiStudio.com for the finest taxidermy in the business.
For advertising opportunities with Bob Folkrod's Hunting Adventures, please contact Bob at bgfolkrod@gmail.com.